the man who wore the codpiece before Cameo and single-handedly drove a stake through the heart of the Love generation, and then, without any thought for personal safety and of his own free will, accepted a place on the Nicholas Parsons Alphabet Show.
The most dangerous thing I've ever done. The Alphabet Show today.
Still reeling from the shock.
It was very hard, you know. 100,000 people is nothing. The Parsons Show is tough.
Yeah.
I was like this the whole time.
But, you didn't win, did you?
No, we lost. But
what was that?
we threw it.
Was there a fall-up on the old television trivia?
Yeah, I should have watched Bilko a little closer than that.
Alice, can I take you back? Can you tell me when, in fact, were the first... When were the seeds of outrage first sown in you?
Well, I think it was when I saw my parents' reaction to the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
You know, they saw the Beatles, and they were horrified by the Beatles, and they saw the Rolling Stones, and suddenly the Beatles were okay. You know, and they said, you can look like the Beatles, but don't ever look like the Rolling Stones. At that point, I'd already invented this character with the black hair, and I said, this guy's got to be the most diabolical character of all time in rock and roll.
What age were you when all this...
About 16, 15, 16.
Were you at school still?
Yeah, sure. In fact, the band, the original Alice Cooper band, started in high school, about 1964.
64. And who? What? I mean, is anyone from school still around? I mean,
no, they're all dead. So where I buried them myself, so I should know.
Are we looking at a resurrection of Alice Cooper here?
Yeah. No, it's, you know, the funny thing is, it's like we really didn't get popular. You know, we started in '64 when we were kids, but we didn't really get popular until 1970. You know, and so it's been about 17 years of Alice Cooper.
I heard you had a reputation as being the worst band in LA around those days.
Oh, we used to be able to empty a club in like a minute. You know, we would get up there and everybody was into Peace and Love, you know, and we were like Clockwork Orange. You know, we would go up there and, you know, it looked like Baby Jane, it looked like 5 Baby Janes, you know, and we played the loudest. We were the loudest band in LA, and we could empty a room in, you know, really fast.
And tell me, what is this thing with Alice Cooper? Where does it come from?
My psychiatrist would like to know that. I personally don't want to know where Alice comes from, because when I become Alice, like this is an Alice right here, this is what Alice looks like. Alice lives on stage, and that's where he totally lives. I don't allow him to come off stage. I wouldn't hang out with Alice. I mean, he's really a character you don't want to hang around with.
But yeah, I mean, look at you. You haven't stuck anything through me. You haven't wrapped a snake round me or whipped me to death.
No.
Yet. I mean...
Well, wait, you know, later, you know. Could arrange that.
See how it goes, see how it goes. But I mean, when you're on stage, do you feel as outrageous as you seem?
Yes. When I become Alice, I don't have anybody to answer to. Alice doesn't answer to anybody. And when he gets on stage, he has the whole theater. The audience is there wanting Alice to do anything that he wants to do. He doesn't really have a censor at that point. And so Alice really does, he's a megalomaniac, you know.
When you first started, you, as you say, you know, you were anti the Love generation, you wanted to shock the Stones out of the Stones and all sort of thing. You had something you were hitting against, but do you feel, now that violence is much more a part of our lives and it's on the streets everywhere and it's happening, do you still feel that, you know, the violence on stage is as impressive, perhaps?
Well, I think the kind of fantasy violence that we do, we don't really suggest anything that's real on stage. If the things that scare me are, you know, like this massacre that they just had here, and we have those in the States all the time, people walking into McDonald's with a rifle and killing 20 people. That's frightening because that's real. We don't depict that on stage. We depict things like guillotines and things that people don't really have at home, other than you, of course. But we, you know, if you're going to get in a fight with somebody, don't pull a guillotine on them, you know. You know, or microphone stands that go through people. Those things are all very fantasy. And I believe that, you know, when you have the stage as a tool, you should use it as much as possible, as long as the band is a great band. You know, I think the band has got to be a great band in order to pull theatrics off. You know, if it were just theatrics and no band, it would really be a different thing. But I mean, we work 80% of the time is on the music. You know.
And are the theatrics very highly worked out?
Yes, they're all, you know, because a lot of them are very dangerous. The guillotine only misses me by that much, and it's a 40-pound blade.
Who are you insured with?
I'm Floyd's of Mexico, probably, not Lloyd's of London. Nobody would touch me. They said, you know, I said, hey, you know, my neck, it's a 40-pound blade, and they said, really?
And so the makeup and the clothing we're seeing now, this is on screen on stage, but when you're like, you know, driving your car at home and stuff, you're not.
No, I kind of dress like the alphabet stage background up there with the, looks like Cyndi Lauper's bathroom. A lot of fuchsias and scarlets and things like that.
And what's home like? You live in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, I live in Arizona. It's very hot there.
Just tell me what the temperature is now.
When I left, it was about 118 degrees.
Got any free tickets back?
I like that though.
Yeah?
That's fun. Yeah, we lived, there's scorpions and snakes and things out there. It's great.
What's your house like? Is it a big Texan ranch, or is it?
It's like an ultra modern kind of thing that's buried up in the rocks, and the townspeople are outside all the time going, "Kill the monster! Kill him!" I hire those people because it's really good for my image, you know, to have like a lot of, you know, Transylvanian townspeople outside the house all the time. And it keeps them working. I mean,
yeah. They're your fans as well, though.
Yeah.
I mean, your fans love and hate. Is
Yeah.
that not true? But your house is full of gadgets and stuff. Isn't it?
yeah. I have. There's always lightning over my house. It's like the Munsters. You know, it's amazing.
Tell me Tell us how many television sets has Alice Cooper got in his house?
I've got about 17 television sets.
And they're all in the bathroom?
They're everywhere. Every place you look. If you go like that, you go, oh, something goes on, and then it starts working. I watch everything that moves on TV because I think TV is like a vast source of useless knowledge. You know, and I really kind of like that. It's become a tranquilizer. When you tour as much as we do, you know, 7 or 8 months out of the year, you find that a TV and a Holiday Inn is your best friend.
So when you're in need of a bit of tranquilizing, you sit at home, you plug in a video. What are you watching?
Oh, I watch mostly splatter movies.
So nice and relaxing, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, there's some really great splatter movies. I rent things that are like that they only release in the Philippines, you know. You know, really bad movies, movies that they should never be shown anywhere else. And I go in there, and you'd be surprised I'm not the only one. I'll go in and I'll say, "Do you have Night of the Mutilation Nurse?" You know, and they'll say, "No, that's been out for 2 weeks."
Tell me, what do you think of like American rock now that's become so glamorous? How do you think you fit in with all this?
Well, I mean, we pretty much started the whole glamour and theater rock thing. We're not into glam rock at all anymore. We're much more into the theater and shock rock.
And you've got like a major date coming up on Sunday at Reading.
Reading, yeah.
And I've heard that you've got plans to actually chop your head off on stage.
Oh, absolutely.
Is this the final denouement? Is this the last we're going to see of Alice Cooper?
It'll be the last of this show. I mean, I've been cutting my head off for years. It's a tradition, you know.